Leave the world in all life forms on all planes and dimensions, seen and unseen, connected with planet Earth, to let us go beyond our known potential into the greatest unknown golden age the universes and worlds and all planets have ever experienced.
Kathy teaches the spiritual truth so that you may create a better life and be able to make positive changes for yourself and for the planet. She helps us remember that we are not powerless, but very creative spiritual beings having an Earth experience. Time to quantum leap into the age of divine enlightenment and let Kathy provide you with the tools of knowledge you need to awaken spiritually. That's the Quantum Leap Show. Let Light Unite every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Revolution Radio, Studio B.
Insanity runs in my family. It practically gallops.
No stems, no seeds that you don't need. Acapulco Gold is...
This is the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life. Wow, man!
Fire it up, Holmes!
Why don't you get a job, Mr. Coley?
What for?
You need money.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. And now it's time for that feral hippie herself, an infantic, esoteric, eclectic mix of the adventures of that feral hippie, Miss Mona Radler.
What are you people? On dope?
That was my skull! I'm so wasted!
Make a move and the bunny gets it.
Dave's not here!
All right, Mona, it's all yours. Take it away.
First, I have to take my cursor and get to the unmute button. And then I'll take it somewhere. Yeah, indeedy. We are here at the second day of January 2017. Oh, it's almost kind of lucky we all don't use checks anymore, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to think it's still 2016. Oh, my gosh. Well, we're at least $150 short for goal, so I'm sure it'll get taken care of one way or another like we do every month. But please, let's put it in there ASAP. We are listener supported. And don't forget the, archives, the bullet drive, go to the homepage. There's so many neat things in the store, survival stuff. And that's what the station's been all about, is trying to help get everybody on a page to where we can stand up for ourselves and we don't have to flip and fall for the rest of this crap that we're being dished out at. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, you got to walk through the TSA airport things because we have terrorists. Oh yeah, well, they just might worry about fingernail files and hair shampoo. We have been so duped. We've been duped to a society of detriment. Literally, such detriment. It's putting people's lives at risk. It's making people so not themselves because there's other physical conditions rendering themselves upon us. Be it through the air, be it through the water, be it through the shots, inoculations. Oh, okay. Okay, so, well, just some interesting situations and other things like that going on. And where are we going to take it? Or we allow it to overtake us? We really have to make big choices now these days about what it is that we're going to accept and not accept. We do have this inner power to do that. Since everything in the reality is an illusion, make your illusion a good one. Program yourself that things are just always enjoy, give thanks, and just, make the best out of anything. Went to a birthday party yesterday. And as soon as we walked in the house, somebody was whining and crying. I'm so desperate. Or not desperate. I can't even think of the word because I don't go there. Oh, what is it? Depressed. Okay, there you go. And it's like, well, why did you just talk yourself into having more depression? Anytime we claim anything, it's ours. So it accumulates. It builds upon itself and builds upon itself. And then the momentum gets faster and faster and faster. And then you feel like you just bashed into a wall. Was that fun? Did you enjoy that? You gonna go back for some more? I mean, come on, people. We got to get at least that one notion in our whole psyche that what we feel and what we feed will become us. It's a begotten kind of thing. So be cautious. Be aware of what you're thinking and how you talk, because it will affect us. I've been trying to untrain I'm not into the word of hate, because I don't want to hate anything. I mean, literally, it just is what it is, whatever. So that's one of those words I try to avoid, and I try to work it out. No, maybe I just dislike it a whole lot. Or, well, I just don't see that that's in anybody's favor. But I'm not going to hate anything, because then hate would come back to me. I'm in no mood. Oh, goodness gracious. So I thank the universe for all its conditions that it has allotted me to have. And be thankful no matter what. No matter what. And that we're supposed to program ourselves. No, it's okay to discipline yourself, but why would you put yourself under a program that you might later need to change? Nothing should be programmed, literally. I mean, of course, if you're doing tech stuff and things that you have to really get nitty-gritty about, that's okay. But I mean in your own personal life and being, that nothing is absolute, ever. Nothing is ever going to be finished. It's going to change. It's going to either multiply or decrease. But it's never going to just not be there and never just be done with. There's always a cycle of living and death going on, no matter what. And one grows from the other. So we really just have to get accustomed to that. Start learning to use it. How can it benefit you in your mind or in your environment? Because every notion we think, every word we speak, and every heartfelt intent becomes us. And I think it's just a good thing to be aware. Beware, be aware, because we can't accept what others are saying either, because that's how we became programmed. Excuse me. Just programmed to the point of where we believe that we're small, worthless, can't, what is it? There's a certain word that my mind is just not at this moment. Well, I'm not, see, I don't want to go the not, because I want stuff, I don't want to have no not. Okay, where'd I go? Yeah, it's kind of interesting, because I do like to know what it is that I'm creating. I don't want a mess later that I'm going to have to fix or clean up. I'd rather learn how to avoid these issues, not have little simple things turn into huge catastrophes. What is the issue with looking forward and seeing what actions I take now, or actions that were taken later, earlier in the past, and how they might restitute themselves now? I mean, seriously. Because not everything is going to work at the time we assume it should. Like when I was out looking for boxes to mail packages, the box was there how many times? But I didn't see it those other times I was looking, so I had to see what else I could do. And then one moment, it's like, there's that box. So I packed it up real nice and is it'll be ready to go out in the mail tomorrow because I went and tried to mail it Saturday. But these holidays made the postal offices closed. Did I get upset? No. I tried to figure out and talk to the other people who were going to check out their P.O. boxes. And so there was, little community communication. We didn't exchange names or anything, but we got smiles and we got a, hey, it's okay. Yeah, I, just need this information. And if you got it, you could, tell me. And they did. So there was no down to it, just an alteration. And that's okay because the post office will be open tomorrow. And that's just it. I mean, some people would be moaning and bitching and complaining. And it's like, I knew they were going to be closed today. I did read that much of the sign. But I didn't read the other working hours. Whose fault is that? Just mine. I just didn't look. I didn't think about investigating it further. But I knew at least the day was going to be shut, but not Saturday. But anyway, it's happened twice within a week. And that's okay. It's not anything but in the past now. So I look forward to tomorrow to going to the post office and mailing out my last holiday package. That's so funny. Anyway, even though I don't really like to play the holidays or anything, the birthday party was pretty cool, except for the depression and the other things that were going on. Now, you get a bunch of conversationalists on conspiracy sitting around a table. You're going to tell me not to talk like that? Oh, my flippin' gosh! Let's not talk negative. Well, we weren't talking about going out and killing and hanging up and destroying the cabal or anything, even though that's what we probably all want to do in our heart. But to a degree that it's over. We can start over again. We can clean up the mess and make our world the way we want to. Excuse me. And I had to say, when you try to control your speaking, I mean, it's different if you know. Now, see, I have a trust. I have a trust within myself. I will not, in my intent, try to harm or foul anything up with my verbiage, no matter what. I will be as diplomatic as I can if I have to, or I'll be as direct and open as I can. Because, it's just the way she was thinking it. It wasn't detrimental to us to know what's going on and to find out new information we might not have known. We were all excited. We were having a great time.
Well, I suggest that we don't talk about anything negative.
Well, you gotta have a negative to make a positive there, sugar. We live in a duality. And when something comes through on the top of your mind, and you've got to say it, as long as there's no real direct name calling and attacking something else, then say it. Have trust in your oversouls and that secret spirit self that nobody even looks to try to find. Oh, they want to claim it. I am so spiritual. But do they walk their talk? Do they actually perform without trying to clarify, classify, and raise their hand that I am the almighty spiritualist? No, I'm just Mona. Though, okay, I'm the feral hippie. And other things of those natures. But, I mean, come on. If you can't live with the spirit, why would you even try to acclaim that you're spiritual? It's a part of each and every one of us. Body, mind, and spirit. You can't separate them. You can't try to work on one without having the others along with it. That's called the Trinity. Now remember, this is all in my personal opinion now. It's not written in stone anywhere as far as I know. I mean, it could be, I don't know. It's just what I've worked with myself. And then meeting the entities that are spirits were kind of interesting too, because we never die. I mean, we really never are extinguished. That's the funnest part of it all. Carrying around these meat suits is great, and you want to take care of your house because, this is our house. This is our spirits and souls' house, and we want to make it the best that it can be. Not just for us, but for the people around us, the environment, the conditions that really get manifested from who and what we are and how we think and behave. Yeah. There's a whole lot I'd love to get rid of and make better. But I can do only what I feel is available for me to process. Okay? I'll give an example. If anybody's listening to this show, they know I wrap a lot of copper, and so I'm always looking for copper. And there's a few people who know about it, and some of the stuff comes through, there's not a thing I could do with it. But I leave it up to the universe, because it knows. I don't have to go out searching, making phone calls, and doing all this other stuff. When the universe thinks I'm worthy to receive the copper, I get it. And I got a whole bunch right here. I can't wait to get into Reese. Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm a twisted sister, and I love wrapping. I mean, just because copper is the love metal also, and it's really palatable when you have it in your nice warm fingertips. It can move in a lot of different ways. Plus, it keeps my hands busy. I always like keeping my hands busy. But it's just having faith that the universe is on your side and that it works in your benefit. Now, you have to kind of have a little bit of wandering in your mind to allow that, because we've been so tied up into thinking some God, some Lord, some authority figures are going to get here and save our asses. Well, it's not gonna happen. It's not. In the 58 years I have existed on this planet, it's been my faith and my trust that the universe is working in my favor that has made me feel so blessed. I could start crying right now because I'm so full of knowing that it's what we make of it, what we allow of it, what we don't put out there to get in our way. No more damning things. Just simple language can change our whole world. And it just takes for us to recognize, do I want more pain and agony and war? Or do I want some of that joy and some tickle playtime, and you can do it with yourself. I'm serious. I get so tickled over some things and cry over others. And, emotions can be fun, actually. Not to be distraught about them. Those are those things that we should really be investigating, looking into. What could be an answer? Oh, but not a conclusion. Even though sometimes that's really what people want. But when you find out you're done with one thing, it'll add to another thing. So never really think that anything's going to be done. End of discussion. Quit. Over. Because life keeps going on. The energies don't change, or the energies do change. But what I'm trying to say is we are contained within our spirit and our soul's energies forever. Otherwise, the discarnate energy spirits wouldn't be there. If death was final and this meat suit was gone, we wouldn't have the communications with the other dimensional realms and entities that are there. And there's many varieties too, which is interesting. But a lot of them will come in a false suit and say, oh, I am this and I am that, and I have to be the grandosis or I have to be the most worshipped, or. I don't know what sense that makes. I really don't get it. I do get a lot of things, though. See, I have to remember that because I'm thinking, too, all the time, how can I change my verbiage and my feelings to make it best? Because I do. I get the things that the universe knows that I want and I need and I'll have so much joy with. I really am blessed. Oh, gosh. And I wish everybody could feel that warm fuzzy inside. To know that it might seem like nothing's going on. But when there's a project that you're doing in love and you're doing just for the betterment of whichever, because I recycle this stuff, to me, that's the most important thing. Using old materials for new things. Doesn't mean you can't buy new materials for new things. It just means that, sometimes if you can make a little less stress on the environment by the stuff that we just nonchalantly throw away. Or people have read, my twin sister once said, turn it all in for money. I'm like, what? What happened to our artistic beings? Our things of sharing with others little pieces of material joy. That money means more than joy? How do you get joy out of that? I mean, I don't get that part. Granted, I'd love a lot of money because that's the next step is trying to sell them. And there's been one sold. So, that's pretty darn decent. That all the hours it takes to strip this stuff and put it into form and put some TLC in it and a little bit of jingle and love, that somebody might feel it and want it and just say, I gotta have that. And spend the money. I mean, to me, it's just like A-okay. Now, it'll be a whole lot different if we didn't have currency. And what kind of barter and trade could be done there? Well, we shall see. I'm not going to put any limits on anything. Or stipulations that it has to be a certain way. Because I know the universe doesn't play that way. No. The Divine Right Order, one of the best replicating conditional machines ever. And of course, we don't recognize that. And it hears us. Now, it can't tell if you're being snide when you say it, or if you're being genuine, or anything else like that. It just takes the vibrations of the words and manifests it for you. So enjoy. Yeah, carry on. Because I want my body to feel the best it can. Even though I know it's only for a certain length of time and whichever. I enjoy being flesh. Just the hugs are amazing. And watching the babies. I mean, oh gosh, we got to protect our babies. And, I'm not saying that the other environmental conditions haven't influenced us and things like that. I mean, but our attitude will help avert any of the detriments to it. Seriously. The mind is such a powerful thing. I think I was about, maybe 17 or so. And I'm watching Donahue. I liked Donahue. And this was before, what's his name got real popular. Oh, the Indian guy. Oh, gosh. Oh, not Sanjay Gupta. Oh, because he wasn't around then, to my knowledge. Come on, who was that guy? Oh, my gosh. I can see him, but I just am not placing his name on his face. But anyway... He was bringing in enlightenment to the masses. And he found a fella who was working with him who was paraplegic. Now, the guy's mind was the only thing that could move and work. So what did he do? He started telling his body and directing the energies to replicate itself, to realign, to work again. He was gorgeous. I mean, when you see the pictures of the before, during, and after, and this was way back before they had, computers and everything else like that. So it was like, oh my gosh, our mind is that strong. It is so strong that this man couldn't move a hair on his head and is now a body drip builder. Just by his mind, by him loving himself enough not to get angry. Oh, every so often I bet he did. But just to get control. Take the power of our mind and use it in our benefits. Because nobody else around us can be benefited unless we are benefited. Does that make sense? I mean, because I feel my blessings bless others too. Because it's one of those things that can be shared. And one of those things we can learn how to do it. Give thanks. No matter what it is that's happening. And just put the right energies into it. The blessings. Even if it's a piece of hell. Bless it. Because you should find something that you're going to learn. Yeah, Deepak Chopra. Thank you, Zippy. Zippy hippie. That's cute, Zippy hippie. Alrighty. Thank you, honey. Yeah, Deepak Chopra. Yeah, however you say his name. Yeah. No, I don't follow him, Benny Hinn. No, Benny Hinn. No. I don't follow the flippin' religious bullcrap. No. My mother used to. Oh. No. My Lord is called life and Mother Earth. No other lords in my existence. Because I'm the only Lord over myself. Nothing else I will allow to be Lord over me. Nope. Now I know how universal law works, and I know what divine right order is. So I allow my faith, my knowing, and my way of comprehension to help allow it to become. And it will. And it does. And you might not think that it's always going to end up the way it does, but you got to have a little, faith in yourself. That love that you are deserving. Deserving, I'm telling you. Deserving. All right. We'll be right back. So many people. How are you? Are you really considering that thought? Do you even need to know how? How about just, giving thanks. Loving yourself for what it is, for what we are, for who we are, no matter what else anybody says or does. I mean, oh my gosh. Let's see. Did I push? No. Oh, they're saying, no, this would be rather interesting. Let me get it from one computer to another. Let me. That's so funny. Like I need to ask permission, which I don't. And I do that a lot to those who say that to me. What do you mean let you? Should I let you? No, it's up to you. So, but interesting. I mean, we've all been looking for something that'll help relieve our minds of this detriment we've been existing under for how many decades now? And all the changes that they're doing to us, etc. Whoops, I put it in the wrong place. It's so funny. Yes, am I really aware of what I'm doing? Sometimes. Nothing to get upset about it, or worked up, or anything else like that, really. Just get it done. Get it done. Fix it. If you don't do it right the first time, try again. Something will happen. Something will make itself out of ourselves and our beings if we just allow it. Start facilitating it, letting it, and making it happen by, putting in the right food so it grows. Why did it not just let me have that? Where'd it go? See, stuff is so out of our control. Oh, there it goes, and I bet I have it twice. I love this 3D Greg Prescott. He does the 5D, not 3D. 5D. I'll have to find those videos of the things that are going on. Otherwise, okay, mass arrest of the cabal has begun. That'd be kind of cool. Wouldn't that be your day? Wouldn't that just, I mean, for those who get an idea of what the cabal is, but what will the arrest really make and do for us? Why isn't it not giving me an article? Oh, there it goes. It had to pop in. Because it's a video. Come on. I didn't know it was going to be a video. But two sources have confirmed the roundup of the criminal cabal has begun. On December 29th, Kent Dunn initially told Gary Larrabee about the impending mass arrests on the criminal cabal. According to Dunn, after January 1st, the government has got 15,000 arrest warrants. They're bringing in 30,000 FBI to serve these warrants on the cabal and the cabal assets. On January 1st, 2017, Dunn confirmed that the arrests have begun starting at 4:08 this morning. He got a text on his phone from one of his contacts. The starting arrests have started. He'll keep him up to date. That started at 4:08 that morning. On January 2nd, what Bilford looks like a little demonic something. This picture is just so wrong. Whoa! I will put this page into the chat, so you have to come to the chat room, check the chat links, look for the feral. No, wait a minute. Who am I in chat? Herbal hippie. No. Yeah, herbal floozy. There I am. Herbal floozy 1 in the links column, and you'll find the links to this. It's on the left-hand side. Chat links. So if you don't or aren't into chat, because this stuff is kind of important, it's good to have an awareness of what's going on around you and what other people's opinions and attitudes and thinking are. Okay? This is really cool. It would be nice to think that, everything, since they're in prison, now see who knows what the rest of it will go to, because the paperwork and the laws, if they're already in progress, then if somebody's in jail, that's not going to stop that. So we have to really think a little further than just the appreciation that actually the ones are getting their karma. That's really cool. Yeah. Corralling them, putting them where they belong, away from being able to do anything. But then again, what do walls in a prison make if you got the internet? Stuff can still happen, and even in our minds. I mean, how do these other agendas and situations, say, of the magical kind, it's all in their mind. It's all by the process of how they work their spells. January 2nd, 2017, Benjamin Fulfa stated the same message, that this will be the year of the rooster. Their chickens are already going to come home to roost. This will be the year of mass arrests, war crime trials, and regime change. In the U.S., the arrests of over 15,000 Khazarian mobsters by the FBI already began January 1st, Pentagon sources say. Well, that's interesting. It was not mentioned who among the 15,000 of the cabal that are being arrested, but speculation would infer that there would be many politicians, world leaders, bankers, and anyone who has worked against the best interests of humanity. Well, it'll be exciting days ahead if this is true. That's rather interesting. Yes. Oh, that's an interesting one. Physical pains and their metaphysical meanings. Are you going to go there for me? Or are you just going to ignore me? I know I pressed the right button. Yep, these touch pads. You got to make sure you're not trying to do anything on the center line or you're getting nowhere. I don't like not going later. Hi, Noreen. Okay. All right. But I'm sure she's listening to Andrew on the other side. Yeah, we have 2 studios here. I'm in Studio B. And right now, Andrew Barris, I don't, until he tells me how to say his last name, I won't be able to say it right, is on Studio A. So just in case. Alrighty then. Because I know a lot of people have been getting recognition of their bodies going ouch. And it just depends on where we're really planning on it. Okay. Everything on the physical plane is manifestation of something on the metaphysical plane. Well, I can agree to that. When we speak of abundance, what we're really talking about is an abundance of emotional, mental, and spiritual energy. We fill ourselves to the brim with these energies, and it's the overflow that is manifested on the physical plane. How many people just said, the plane, the plane? Oh, pardon me. The signs and symptoms that are apparent on the physical plane lead us to inquire ultimately more deeply into ourselves as an energetic and spiritual being. Well, only if you're in that consciousness too. We tend not to worry too much about this sort of thing when our body is working well, when we're not feeling pain, when we're not in the throes of some chronic disease. But when our body feels pain or becomes disabled by disease or accident, we tend to start reaching out for answers. We want to know why. Or maybe we don't even want to know why. We just want to fix something we perceive is broken. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them, said Albert Einstein. Realistically, when our body refuses to do what we want it to, metaphysically, it's not actually broken. It's doing its job. One of the functions is to carry messages from the higher energetic planes to us. And then it's up to us to interpret these messages and take action. Western medicine takes the position that if we feel pain because we can, Western approaches to pain as the main symptom of any disease are pretty much limited to drugs and surgery. Treatment consists in numbing or diverting pain receptors in the body or cutting off the offending organ. Oh, jeez. While this approach does have its place in acute situations, it's best at a temporary and often harmful way to approach pain and other disharmonies we feel in our bodies. Most often, Western medicine has little to offer, and most of us, and it incredibly makes us wait until our symptoms become unbearably acute before it can even be acknowledged a disharmony. Alrighty. The trend today, as much as for the economic reasons, as for reasons of spirit and human development, is to encourage people to take responsibility for their own lives. This is the approach of ancient wisdom. We use our bodies to communicate with ourselves and with others. We use our bodies to work out emotional, mental, and spiritual questions. While we do tend to judge a diseased body negatively, there is really no right or wrong about it. The ancient Taoists theorized that good and bad, right and wrong, yin and yang were just different points of a view that we adopt at one time or another. Because the earth plane is dualistic in nature as we all view, one time or another at both the yin and the yang ends of the telescope. There does not seem to be a point of judging one good and one bad, or judging one good and one evil. These are just symptoms of being human. You have got to be willing to lose everything to gain yourself. Still, there is such a thing as being well, and there is such a thing as being sick. When we get sick, we tend to want to do something about it. Enter the healer. A healer is trained in observation and interpretation of signs and symptoms and a method for dealing with them. Holistic healing is when the individual occurs at different energetic levels. There are physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. For those on the path, there are many great and many more levels, sub-levels identified in various cultural, religious, and philosophical traditions. But for our purpose, we can look at the individual in these four broad realms to at least begin the process of healing. Healing, by the way, does not only occur at the individual level, but also the family, community, and a global level. When one heals mindfully, as the Buddha says, there are other aspects of individual healing that may become apparent. These are the healing operations today at these levels. Still, a good place to begin is in the individual body. With this in mind, following a list of physical symptoms and the metaphysical disharmonies they may reflect. So Louise Hay, in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, has done some interesting work in this area. The book is used occasionally in Reiki work. Other references are traditional Chinese medicine diagnostic principles, which is true. It's really kind of cool, actually, to see how it does relate to one thing or another. But please note that these are general observations, serving hopefully to just illuminate areas that you can look at more closely in yourself or with the help of a healer. You are the one who knows you best. As you go through these observations, try to expand your awareness beyond your own life to see how these things and these disharmonies are reflected in your own family, community, country, and in the world. Ultimately, it's our choice to heal or to not heal, and it's our own innate healing ability that is activated and activates others. First, consider the head. Always consider the head. Yeah, I mean, yep, it's all in the head, man. It's all in the head. Headaches. Whew, I've known them, and I will never accept one again. Pain always indicates a separation of some sort from something. Yeah, let me see what my clingy dingy says here. Yeah, it's because it's not real. It's not the real one. Okay. You want to come on? Hey, are you busy? I could use a chat. All right. I know. I'm trying to do two things more than once here. Oh, okay. There it goes. I'm going to call him too. Want to be a guest? Want to chat? On air? I know, I'm trying to. Not about that, though. Okay. All right, I apologize for being silent, but that'll happen if we don't have our heads out of our asses and not believe that we're in charge and control of our own existences. I mean, seriously. Oh, I'm so glad I found that out way back when. Because it really has made a big difference. About the The different pains. Yes. Because headaches. And when I was having, let's say, my teenager years, that okay, that I was I had a lot of migraines. Okay, it's ringing, and I can't see if it. Okay, it'll happen if it wants to be here or not. And it did. It accepted. Woohoo! Well, today was the day that I wanted to work on body, mind, and spirit connections because this is how we're existing. And it's a whole new year, and we don't need to make, what do you call them? Rest. Ugh. See, I don't play in that realm, so the words don't come to me. But how we can enjoy our own power and control by how we think and what we utilize in our existence. So, how are you, Walt?
Hey, Mona, thank you for the invite. I didn't know you were online right now. Well, it is Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Sí, te puedo oír.
Hey, I'm live all the time, babe.
I'm sending you a huge, huge hug.
Oh,
that's my mom.
I heard that.
For everything, and very, very good and happy and very, very healthy year for you. I wish.
Well, that's the intent behind it all. It is that people get joy out of existing through special little packages.
Yeah.
And my happy new year to the dog too.
Oh yeah, to your goosey.
Oh yeah, I had a dream she was flying, but it was only 6 inches off the floor, so it was okay. Because her kind of goose can't fly.
Really?
Yeah, they're supposed to be ground beers. Yeah.
Is that because they get altered or by birth?
It's just the type of goose.
So it's like chickens. Chickens don't normally sustain flight. They can leap and kind of flap their wings, but they don't go very far.
No, not at all. And you should see the joy on her face when she does get flapping and her feet are kind of off the floor. It's so cute. But yeah, she's a doppelduck. Goose. Doppelgoose.
Oh.
So she's just like not like the geese that fly like you have.
Well, Gandhi's lazy. I have to urge him. Okay, I start asking him. Okay, come on, let's go. And I have to flap my arms. And when he sees me doing that, then he takes off.
But I think the smell that you were smelling was from the hazelnut coffee beans that I got the bags out of to soften the package.
Well, I don't think so.
Oh, well, that's cool then.
Why? I'll tell you why I don't think so. Because my mom got a cream made with a secret ingredient, and it smells the same.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was kind of full of it.
Yeah, so it doesn't get any more herbal than that, does it?
Yeah, it can, and it will change due to whatever kind of herbal variety it was or is, But yeah, well, I'm glad that it was enjoyed because that was the whole intent of sending out the packages.
But you must have when you told me what the thing sells for, I said to my mom, wow, she must have sent us like $200 worth of merchandise here.
Yeah, kind of, but that's okay. I mean, why not? I want people, see, I'm all for people feeling better because I'm so empathetic or whichever, that I don't want anybody in pain. I want everybody to be full of warm fuzzies and joy. So that. But
I like it when someone's asking, like they have some kind of issue, and they're asking, and I see them making the effort to get over whatever it is that's affecting them. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of the coin, I've come across individuals that whatever, don't fix them.
I had that with my husband, but we got the top of the hour break. Don't leave because I really want people to feel that the new year is in their power, and I know you can help me get that message across. We'll be right back. Well, we are here at freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio. And what it is that, we want to bring a fact of some kind of reality, even though it's through an illusion. But we are here to help out. So please do the donate click. And you can also get the archives, $5 a month, pretty reasonable in my idea. And all kinds of other things. Go to the homepage, check it out, come to chat. Thank you for listening, and welcome, Walt. Are you on mute?
Thank you, Mona. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, man. Words create. I want no sorrow in your existence.
Thank you for your patience then. I just had the thing muted.
That's okay. We do it all the time. I just don't even mute sometimes. It's just like I'm leaving the room anyway.
Anyway, I'm just burping anyway, and everybody burps, right? So
why not? Exactly.
Why should I feel sorry, right?
No, yeah, you shouldn't. And people they don't get the recognition of it because we've all been so programmed that that's an escape. And ever since my children were little, I knew if they said they were sorry, their intent was just to get out of trouble. And I mean, my girlfriend, she had 8 kids. Oh my gosh. And she just told them to say, well, tell them you're sorry. And it's like I saw the devil look in his eye after he ran over my kid on his bicycle. He wasn't sorry. He enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's just words, and they don't mean anything.
But they do.
If you don't, if you're not saying it,
to have is that our words create.
Well, depending on the emotional charge behind.
Not always, not by the physical being.
You can insult someone with praise.
Yeah, true. And why not?
Remember the old, I don't know your ascendancy, but
Aries.
Remember in the old European, in Poland, in the old Jewish ghettos, when the people would argue and fight, and they would toss curses at each other. You remember the worst curses? I remember reading a book about it. Was these 2 women having an argument, and they wouldn't hesitate to cast curses at each other, on the person, on the family, and everything. And one time in the middle of the argument, the woman that was getting battered said, well, for you, Sarah, I wish that your son find a perfect wife, so perfect and so beautiful. And so the other woman was starting to smell, what the punchline was going to be to that statement. So she says, okay, I was wrong. I take it all back.
But it's only if we accept what we're told.
Yeah. So, even beautiful words can have a negative charge. So.
Well, I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, she opened up her home and her heart to this conniving, stealing, witchy woman. I said, you got to start sending her blessings. You can't give her what she wants with the detriment that you're feeling, because that's just what she was doing, sucking the energies and creating the ugliness around her by trying to have that kind of power play and control. And she didn't deserve it. This woman just was trying to be a human being towards others, but we have to have discernment about
that. That's based on your description, what I'm seeing is the old religious program of self-sacrifice.
Yeah, right.
Sacrificing your health, your well-being, your happiness. You're more virtuous in the eyes of God.
Oh, my daughter's going through that right now.
Nothing could be further from the truth, Mona.
I know.
If you accept that you are one with God, and there is
which God, though?
God is inside you. If you're sacrificing yourself, if you're throwing pearls before swine, that's the respect and love you have for God. You're sacrificing it.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
So that's why you have to be good
to
yourself.
She's her own God, Walt. Well, even with me as her mother, okay? She's found out that she's got this EHLERS Danlos syndrome, and it's affecting herself really bad. And she's trying to be a straight Christian religious individual. And I'm like, how do you tell her that that's just being more detrimental to your existence? And she was raised with knowing what Buddhist is and other realms of realities and consciousness. So her being a straight Christian going and falling for this is, I don't know how to break her of it.
Well, you can't, because
I know, but
if you
I'm
do,
a mother. Come on.
you don't know what her journey is for this life.
Right.
You don't, even she doesn't know. So when we try to do that, and even if, what is the old saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
I know,
That's
exactly.
the intentions. If that's their journey, that's their journey. I'll give you a perfect example here. My mother was an unwanted baby.
Aww.
So because of her existence, her parents had to get married. And many years later, they had her sister, which was a wanted baby. Yeah, they wanted that baby. It was a conscious decision made by both parents.
Right.
Well, that one turned out to be Lucifer's evil twin sister. If you can understand the significance of my words, if you can imagine something worse than Lucifer, it's what it is. I mean, she grew up in a household where the mother and the father, they absolutely believed in home remedies, like the old country wives, solutions for things. I mean, they never poisoned themselves with chemistry or pharma or anything. They knew how to heal themselves with all these old country, remedies. She's the absolute opposite, even though she grew in a household, and this is the example that was given to her. Oh no, she can't get through the day without consuming a shoebox worth of drugs. I mean, she sneezes, she goes to the doctor. She has a toe ache, she goes to the doctor. So this is an individual that, whatever there's a limit to the amount of conditioning your parents will give you, because you have to look at what's the agenda, what was the life plan that this soul incarnated with, what was the life contract. That's, you can't, I mean, you can do the work and try to revoke it, but at some point there's no revocation that will make that thing budge.
Right. But the one thing with my daughter, though, is that she is in the holistic vegan kind of thing. So she has the respect of the nature and how that she can utilize things for herself. But I think her Christian belief has just dogged her to the point, like you said, she's going, road to hell is
this Christian thing coming to her from relationship, marriage, or something?
It's probable. It's not through my intent, because she's had such a wide Unitarian upbringing, and she even put it into her own working existence. But then she just, I don't know what it was. When she went to Africa, Christianity took her over. And she's followed that road and path and screamed out the prayers, God, why aren't you listening to me? But if she's living the sorry-filled life because she doesn't see that she's not gaining what she's been asking for, she's just, I don't know, it's still a kind of lost situation. I can only support her through how she is for who I am. That's all I can do. I can't change her. You're right.
Well, the other thing that you have to take into consideration on this, I am living proof of this, because this is a condition that I lived. For 35 years, I was not 100% myself. If you understand one of the people that speak openly of this, and what he says actually coincides with ancient Hindu texts that I have read, and all the pieces click together, is this gentleman, Frank Jordan, the energy healer, who has the Walt Spirit radio shows on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And he does.
Never heard of him till right now.
He explained it in such a simple way, that the things that I had read of ancient scripts make perfect sense. And the fact is, okay, we are inhabiting these animal bodies. Animal body does have its own soul. They call it the low soul. The Hawaiians have their name for it. They call it the Unihipili. And the highest chakra that this soul resides on is the solar plexus. Because if you look at that part of the body, there's a whole nerve center there, a nerve complex. Dr. Costa of the Institute of Thought calls it the body brain. And that's the seat of the soul of the body. And what sits in the brain is the high soul, the high soul that's coming to have the human experience. So our bodies are containers to more than one entity. Now, when the problem with low souls, whenever you hear of hauntings, a haunted hotel, a haunted garage, whatever it is, and they've taken pictures of a female form or this or that, those are not high souls. Those are low souls that come from the earth, and they don't know how to go back. And that it's sad to say, but that was actually a deliberate mechanism, because in ancient times, there used to be these people, the same way you have dentists and painters and shoemakers. You had these people called the dream walkers, and whenever somebody was ready to die, they would get called in, and their job is to usher the low soul back into the earth, so it doesn't get stuck here, so you don't have a haunting. But the way the system of domination and control works, those people were persecuted to extinction. Luckily, the information was never truly lost, and there are people like the Crimson Circle who they go around the world and different states teaching, the Dream Walker school. So there are people that are actually doing that, and they are getting, I don't know how, but I know that they're making a living out of that. So when my father died, I was actually, he had two giant aneurysms in his aorta. It was a time bomb. It was a matter of time when that would going to burst, and he didn't want to get operated, because being operated meant that he would spend the rest of his days in a wheelchair, and the thought of that filled him with terror. So when the time came, I didn't know what to do for him, and I grabbed onto him as he died. And you could actually see, it was interesting to see the energy that came out of the top of his head. And when you're looking at this corpse, the feet are frozen cold like marble, and the head is burning hot like he has a fever. And I remember reading Paramahansa Yogananda when he describes that condition of somebody that just died, because that high soul it's like a whoosh of energy coming out of the top of the head. But the low soul is a different story, because now he's left with this dead body and doesn't know where to go. So for 35 years, I had 75% of my father's low soul in me, in my body.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it totally affects everything you do, how you think, how you act, how you feel, and you think it's you, because you have explanation. There's nobody around you to tell you, you have a stowaway in your ship.
Right.
It's food, and it's changing the course of your ship, and it's middling around with your compass, and it's doing all these things, and you think, there must be something wrong with me, right?
Right.
Because there's no other logical explanation. So when he scanned me the first time we did the Skype session, and he scanned me and he found that, and he says, were you close to somebody who died? And I said, yeah, I was holding my father in my arms as he died. And then he told me, so between the two of us, we clear that out, send it back into the earth. And the next day, it's like you just got born again or something. I don't mean to sound religious, but
No, but it's true. I get what you're saying, but I was just thinking when you were saying that.
Now, you said that she's been in Africa.
Uh-huh.
Magic is a daily occurrence. How do you know she doesn't have another entity in her?
Oh, I can't state it. I haven't seen her since what year did she come back and then go? Well, anyway.
Where is she now? Where is she now?
You mean what country?
Where is she living? Where in the world is she living now?
She's in Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she loves Africa. She won't come back to the States. Even
to them, magic is a way of living. So.
Oh yeah.
The thing is that when people argue and fight, they don't bother talking about it. It's the same thing happens in Argentina. They don't bother sitting down with a cup of coffee or something and discussing the situation, clearing the air, and no, they just go to the nearest witch or the nearest medicine man, and I want you to cast a curse on that one or a spell on that one. That's how they deal with everything. I know
Oh, well, she's had warlords after her ass. I'm not. No, I'm serious. They tried. That's why she came back to the States for that year, because she was helping out the warlords' own personal children from not having to be warlords. She had 2 Doctors Without Borders killed because of her. Not because of her, but they were trying to get through them to her. So yeah, she might. What an interesting thought.
Well, I'll give you another example of how, for these
Because
ancient,
they killed the albino blacks there for the magic. There's all kinds of witchcraft going on there.
yeah, all the indigenous people of the world are aware of magic on some level. I'll give you another example. In New York, I met this a Peruvian gentleman, a native of Peru, and he, for over 20 years, he'd done this thing. He didn't call himself an astrologer. I don't know why he called himself a cosmobiologist. I don't know what the difference is with the term, but he had gone to university for this, and for over 20 years, he was doing this natal chart analysis for people. And he told me the story when he was a teenager. He traveled with his father and I think another 2 boys to a part of Peru where you see the beginnings of the Mato Grosso, the jungle. The same, they have jungle just like in Brazil. For a few days, they were there in the area where it was full of indigenous people, and he said that the young indigenous people there are very promiscuous. So it seems that a group of girls wanted to spend the night with them, and the other 2 friends accepted, but he refused. He went back to the hotel, and he says when my father came to pick us up in the car, and they got up on the Jeep, as they were leaving, he saw the 3 girls, and they were doing some kind of gestures with their hands or something. He couldn't remember every detail. And it turns out that later on, his father had to take him to a medicine man to clear him because they cast something on him. He started getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and the medicine man said, they did a casting on him, as revenge for his refusal.
Well, to steal somebody else's life source and to affect it like that is pretty not correct thing to do in my world, but still, it does happen. It's the cosmic egg and the rips and the tears and the other things.
And the biggest problem regarding the individual is that since they refuse to accept that it can happen, that's the door that they exploit. Is that they do it to you, you're feeling sick, your life is going to to hell in a handbasket, but your refusal to accept that it's even possible, it's not letting you defend yourself or clear yourself or protect yourself. Because no, this isn't possible. It doesn't. But what happens is because your low soul, the soul of the body, is not affected by the veil. It knows that it's real. It knows that it's happening. It just has no way of communicating with you because, let's face it, how many people actually spend the time communicating with their low soul? Not very many.
No,
So,
I didn't even recognize until you said it that that's probable.
when how many times have you heard the expression, I got this gut feeling? Where do you think that's coming from?
I know, but that's an intuition kind of thing, and we have many meridians and many chakras, so come on, Walt. We all can't be on top.
Your low soul is telling you, be careful with this. It's the same thing as the antelope that can feel that there's something hidden in the brush. There's a lion stalking it. It knows. It just knows, and it takes even though it hasn't smelt or seen anything, it just takes off. It leaps, and the lion has no recourse but to chase after it.
Right.
There is that higher sense, and we have it. It's just that it's been clouded with all that mind crap and mind noise and conditioning. And
you think we reincarnate with the same Ursula?
It happens. It does happen, yes.
So then we might be bringing past ones that were already under attack.
Correct. And someone else who has spoken of this, of the low soul reincarnation, is this lady, Enelia Benz. You know of her?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, and She did. She spent like a week doing a workshop with this gentleman, Gilliland, the guy who's got a ranch out west, and he's always being, the Air Force is always buzzing around his ranch.
The one who calls the UFOs?
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm.
She went there and she spent like a week doing a workshop there, and I saw a 40-minute YouTube, and she openly said, I forget the subject of the conversation, but she was saying it could be from another life or another of your body's lives.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the two. You have knowledge that the low soul has, because the low soul has switched bodies, come back to another body, and you have memories of the high soul that has also, traveled through different bodies, and that also goes to explain why do you have so many different incarnations, in the sense that in one incarnation you're like, oh, super knowledgeable, triple PhD college professor, and then you come back and you have an incarnation where you're like as dumb as a post. And how could it be so different? You have different souls. Yeah, but what about the body's soul? Is it the same soul that has all that knowledge and experience? It could be a totally different soul in the body. I mean, there's.
Well, I don't know how we could actually go in reverse, but okay. Because
there's a practitioner. His name is Rich Rolston. He works also with Frank Jordan's group, and he lives and works in the island of Maui. And he did something really radical. I think it was 2 years ago. He was working on this man, and he was trying to help him. The man was, I believe, very ill, very sick. And then he realized that the problem was not with the man's high soul. It was the problem was with the man's low soul. So he went ahead. Maybe this is something that has been done in the past, and he's aware of this knowledge. But he literally did that. He changed the low soul in the man. So then the low soul, the new low soul coming in, didn't have all that karmic charge that had been built up by the old low soul.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to continue, working with the man for a time to get him conditioned and get used to his new state, because now his body's energy starts to change. There's somebody else sitting behind the driver's, somebody else sitting behind the wheel.
Well, that's kind of interesting, because a lot of people have stated that they've died and they've had something walk in.
Yeah.
Is that the same theory or
no, it could be. It's entirely possible.
But would that be a low soul or a high soul or both soul? I mean,
Simon Parks recently described a situation that I was aware of in one case that I knew of from years ago. I have not heard her name anymore. There was this lady doing the whole metaphysical circuit, lectures and workshops, and she wrote a lot. She goes by the name of Sierra Neblina, and she used to write a lot of blog articles for a website called The Golden Age of Gaia. And she is a really unique case, because you are aware that back in the 50s and 60s and even today, some women were being used to experiment. They were getting pregnant by military men that had alien DNA in their makeup. You remember that?
It actually doesn't cross my mind, but go ahead.
Oh. Well, okay, so her mother thought that she was very lucky when she met this military man, and she got pregnant. And she thought, oh, wow, I'm set for life. I'm going to have a military husband and blah, blah. And as soon as she became pregnant, the man disappeared, fell off the face of the earth. And then, and this woman's, and it happened to her when she got pregnant, when the daughter got pregnant, she actually witnessed, she says she was in the bed, and she was half asleep, and then she noticed the girlfriend had gone into the bathroom and closed the door, and she noticed that there was somebody in the room, and she opened her eyes, and it was a gray, the traditional gray alien.
Right.
And it's like some force closed her eyes. And then she again made the effort to open her eyes. This time the guy was near her. So every time she was able to crack her eyes open, this entity was getting closer and closer to the bed, and then she finally closed her eyes and didn't wake up until the morning. And when she woke up in the morning, she was no longer pregnant. She was 9 weeks pregnant. So she made it her. She went off grid, destroyed all the credit cards, only used cash, moved around incessantly, and she wanted to find out what the hell's going on, why all of this. And then she came up, the military confronted her and says, you have to stop investigating, otherwise we're going to disappear you. So she found out how her father was part of this alien human hybrid thing, and that's why they got the mother pregnant, and that's why they took her baby. But at one point, she had this event where she, not physically but astrally, she was in a ship in orbit, and they gave her the chance. This was at the top of her misery when she didn't know where her life was going because she had been in hiding for 10 years. And they gave her a choice. If you want to stay, you have to continue this work. If you don't want to stay, we have another that wants to come in and be a walk-in in your body. And she didn't like that. She didn't like the idea of leaving. And they gave her a third option. We can braid you. It would be a braided walk-in, like a hair braid. You and this other one are going to be inhabiting the same body. And she says, that's what I want.
Whoa.
And that's what and I don't know what I haven't.
Is that a spiritual hermaphrodite?
I don't know. I guess and only just recently I heard Simon Parks describe that same thing exactly, where somebody doesn't exactly leave the body, but the newcomer shares the same body. The souls are not limited by time and space, so
right.
It's not like they need a special cubicle to sit in.
Interesting. Because I'd love to see that she was doing so much better, but things have just gone so downhill, and I just I want better things for her, but just oh my gosh. I want better things for everybody because we do have the power and the strength, and we can investigate things, and we don't have to have fear of the unknown.
Does she have the wherewithal to come back if she wanted to, or is she like a prisoner there?
It's her choice.
Ah, okay.
To my knowledge, it's her choice. So,
well,
and most of it would be fun.
Choices stunk. Because for 35 years, my choices stunk because they weren't exactly mine.
Well, that's true, right? Oh my gosh, what a way to! Oh my gosh,
it's a wonderful universe, isn't it?
Well, it's definitely one we should investigate a little more openly. Because I wouldn't have even thought about the solar plex in that kind of dimensional condition, which makes sense, though. It really does make sense. Wait, this
time for a message from our
sponsors.
Time for a message from our sponsors.
Our supporters. We sponsor only ourselves. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. Yep. Hey, 333, my favorite numbers. What about you, Walt? You got a favorite number?
It's 233 over here. I'm stuck in the past. See, you're more advanced than me.
Oh, hey, I've given birth. Okay, I call that advanced in a lot of things. Oh my gosh, oh goodness, some of the most beautiful times in my life was giving birth and raising the babies to the best of my ability. But I wish I would have known all this, because then back in the time I could have remedied so much. And now we're having to really work on it, especially in this.
Well, isn't that one of the old classic sayings, "The truth shall set you free"?
Oh yeah, I've been a free bird for a long time.
Yeah. When I found out that my mother's sister had cast a spell to kill her sister, I didn't feel anger or resentment or hatred or wanting to wring her neck between my hands. I actually felt serenity, and I thought, oh, finally, the truth. Once you know the truth, that's it.
But you don't have to feed into it for it to
Exactly. Once
manifest
you
to
know
the
the truth,
point.
that's it. I can do something about it. The worst thing is not knowing what the hell's going on.
Well, that's true. That is so true.
Because when you don't know what's going on,
But it's
you
rather
imagine the worst.
interesting.
You imagine the worst, therefore creating a worse type of reality.
Yeah,
Because
I
it
just tell it to go away, Walt, really. Seriously, I mean, I don't pay attention to feed onto crap. Every day there's different pains and other realities, and then I forget them and they aren't there anymore. You know what I mean? You just can't feed into the distance.
Don't feed it. That's
That's
exactly
right.
what we were talking about on the show yesterday with Nancy and JP.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because
I didn't realize you did a show on Sundays.
yeah, Nancy's the one who told me she didn't think he was going to do it. Simon Parks did his Sunday show.
Right.
She thought that he wasn't going to be on because it was the first of the year, but he did instead of 2 hours, he did a 1 hour because he was kind of exhausted. He had been under psychic attack the day prior to that.
Right.
So he didn't feel good enough to do 2 hours, so he did 1 hour. So we came on afterwards and we were on the radio for 3 hours.
Nice. I would have joined you if I knew.
So that
Except I was at a birthday party.
Oh, you were at a birthday party?
Oh, tell you what. I mean, if I could have walked home, I would have. But man, I didn't even want to drive there. If you knew this ride.
Why?
Huh?
What happened?
It's just way up in the hills. People hold on to their pain. They don't even realize they can let it go and see the joy in the transitions that have occurred. Yes, her husband died, but she's in mourning forever. Give it a break. The first things out of her mouth were, I'm so depressed. You want to walk into somebody's house as they're stating, I'm just so depressed. I mean, come on.
But Mona, if I let go of my pain, what's left? Who am I going to be? What am I going to do? That's my identity.
You're going to make more turtles. And you have the spark, and not everybody gets that drift. And like you said, you had to walk through hell to get there, just to even recognize what power you didn't have.
And then you get to discover what power you really do have.
Mm-hmm. Well, first, isn't it just loving ourselves? We've been so denied that. I really do love myself. I'm selfish with myself.
Well, that's it. Religiously speaking, that's wrong. It's vanity. You can't love yourself. Be equated to vanity.
You know how much of a flirt I can be. Yes, I like my vanity.
That's why you're the feral hippie.
That's it. That's true. Then I have the tan lines to prove it. Anyway.
You're one of the Godspan personal servant girls who can do magic.
Yeah, but I just want the whole cabal gone. We've got a mess to clean up. And
well, that's one of the things that we were talking about yesterday when we read some paragraphs from Full Force latest writing, how there's this whole split and infighting in the Rothschild family because the ones, some parts don't want Nathaniel to be the next leader, and Nathaniel wants to hold on, and all this back and forth and bickering and infighting. And one of the things I pointed out to them, to Nancy and JP, is I don't care how much money or power they think they have. There's a very simple reason why the game cannot be sustained any longer, and it has nothing to do with humanity per se. Back in 2004, when Dr. Costa of the Institute of Thought came by Minnesota teaching people the 15-step process, which is it's a very light form of transpersonal hypnotherapy where the person that you're guiding is actually awake. They can get up and go to the bathroom. They're not in a trance or anything. It's a very light state, but it's a type of transpersonal therapy where you guide the person to the fourth dimension so they can meet their guides for physical healing and to answer questions that you might have. And Dr. Costa made it very, very clear that why the need to do this. And he says the earth is moving into the fourth dimension. The vibrations are increasing. The frequency is increasing. And all those negative things that you guys are holding on to, all that emotional baggage, regardless of what excuse you have to hold on to it, because we love making up excuses, right? Oh, I can't forgive this. I can't forgive that person. That person insulted me when I was 5 years old. And like you said, holding on to that pain that, she's a widow. He says, if you don't let go of all that baggage that you're dragging, all that baggage is very low frequency negative energy, and it's incompatible to the place and space where the earth is moving into. That's why people that are sick are getting sicker.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are sick because they're holding on to negative things. And this new area of space that the earth is moving into, the vibrations are not compatible. It's like taking a 120 volt light bulb and plugging it into a socket that has a 10,000 volts. That light bulb is going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
It's incompatible with this vibration. So he said, another thing that he said, and I witnessed it happen, he says people's bodies are transmuting. People are beginning to produce fourth dimensional cells. And because there's no doctor right now qualified to understand what that is, thousands of people are going to be diagnosed with cancers that don't exist, and they're going to get killed with chemotherapy.
That sounds like the false reading about if you wear shungite at the airport, it comes up explosives.
Well, that's if you have the silver saturated shungite. The system is detecting the silver.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that was the need for clearing up all, whatever physical distortions you have, emotional stuff, mental stuff, all of that stuff. You need to clear all that baggage because you're not going to survive where the earth is moving into as the vibrations get higher and higher. So it's like, I take it as a kid, you've played with orange seeds or lemon seeds. When you squeeze them when they're wet, you squeeze them in your fingers and they just shoot off.
Yeah.
It's like that. The vibrations are squeezing you out because it's incompatible. So I was saying to Nancy and JP, these Cabal people, they cannot continue that reality that they have of pain and suffering and exploiting people and raping children and eating children and all that horrible things that they do.
I know, right?
Because all of that is very, very low vibration, very low frequency, and it's incompatible to where the earth is moving into. So them watching their empires crumbling because people are waking up, that's not the cause. People waking up. People waking up is the symptom of the earth moving into this new part of space or higher vibration, higher dimension. So for them planning to continue life, business as usual, is the most unrealistic thing in the world.
So the cosmic energies will just fluctuate it to the point of those that are willing to let go and let creation survive this. And that sounds fair to me.
Yeah,
I mean, why do we take life so personal in the first place?
Exactly. It's not like we're going to stick around for several thousand years, right?
Well, but our spirit, I don't know which part is our really discarnate, if it's our spirit and soul or whichever, but there's enough entities to prove that we just don't get eliminated. Our lights don't get shut off.
Plus, there's something else that has to be brought into the equation, and I totally believe him because I feel it inside. In one of his lectures, this gentleman, Drumbalo Melchizedek, who wrote the books on the Flower of Life.
Yeah.
Who taught the Merkaba
Mr.
meditation.
Blondie.
Okay. On 2 different occasions, I've heard him say, you totally understand and accept the sentience and intelligence of Earth, what they call Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if the Earth wants you and needs you, you could be in the middle of a city in a Category 7 earthquake, and you're not going to get a scratch.
Right.
But if the earth doesn't want you, you could be hiding in an underground bunker. It's going to collapse around you.
I do feel I'm that blessed.
So you can do whatever you want, but she doesn't want you. You're not sticking around, especially if you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Right.
So you add all that stuff up, and there's really, at least from my perspective or my feeling, is there's really no reason to feel negative or depressed or anything. And on the contrary,
right.
All those people that think things are getting worse, what they're witnessing is all that truth coming to the surface. Things are not getting worse. Things are being revealed at last. Deceit and exploitation, in all the different layers of, schools have been designed to control and program your children, not to educate them. Banks have been designed to control you and dominate you. Governments have been set up to control and dominate. All that stuff has existed, for some 1,000 years now or more?
Since Inky and Binky first started the fight.
Yeah, so what's the difference between before and now? Well, now you're waking up to the fact that it's real. You can't run away from it anymore.
Well, personally, I think it's because a lot of us don't realize how we were manufactured for one way of being, and for some reason, some energies woke up and said, we're really not wanting to be this anymore.
Exactly. And did you, you know that Colleen records books, right?
No, neat.
Oh, you don't know that?
She does it for the hearing impaired, or no, the seeing impaired, the hearing impaired.
Correct. And she's recorded several books, and she broadcasts them on the radio. And one of the books that she recorded, I sent her a copy of an Elia Benz interview with a psychic assassin.
Oh.
Because when she was traveling,
Is that with the Cardinals?
No, she was in Costa Rica when she encountered this lady who, the woman is in her 40s, but when she was a little girl, barely 10 years old, she was actually taken from her parents in Costa Rica and brought to one of these, my lab things in the U.S., these secret installations, to be educated because of her very high psychic ability.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually trained to do one thing, scan the collective, and whenever you see somebody starting to wake up, you assassinate them. She was trained to kill with her mouth. And when she asked her, why would you be needed to do this? And she says, because one person waking up is affecting thousands of people around them. It's like putting a pebble in a pond. So it says one person waking up has the power to start waking up thousands of people around. So if you consider that you have 1,000 people waking up, you do the math. It's exponential.
I feel so proud.
Exactly.
Oh, seriously, I had to go through a complete breakthrough to stop the illusion in my life. And that was the beginning of my steps to where I am today. And I'm very happy and proud of who I am today.
There you have it.
Oh, anyway, I told you, I'm selfish. I'm vain.
Oh, so Carly Simon wrote that song for you?
I even do selfies. No, that was about a man who was vain.
Oh, okay.
Not a female who just was herself and changed people's lives because she could see to be respectful of the universe and unconditional love and basically just setting out the truth. And if people took it and had pain from it, not my fault. Because I am in service of the universe. I'm not in service for myself.
Yeah. If you're going to be mindful and careful of everyone's belief system.
I'm never careful. Never full of cares.
If it offends you, it's not me. I'm not doing it on purpose. If I knew that you had the sensitivity and I'm purposely pushing your buttons to make you hurt, then yes, I'm responsible.
That's the gaslight.
If I'm just speaking myself. If I'm expressing my natural self and something in it you don't like, then yeah, you're welcome to walk away. Nobody's forcing you to stay there and listen.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just, some people just love that. They just love pushing buttons. They get a kick out of it. It's like a high.
Yeah, it is.
My grandfather used to do that.
People I used to work for used to do that. Blame everything that went wrong with them on me.
Yeah, that's good. And
Well,
they don't realize how powerless that makes them, because as long as somebody else is responsible for what's happening, guess what? You can't change anything.
right.
You're powerless. You just dug yourself into a grave because there's nothing you can change because it's somebody else's responsibility. So
You know what I call also the power is just allowing, because once we open our true being to what's available with the opportunities around us, life gets so much fun.
yeah,
I mean, just seriously, I was without copper for I don't know how long, and I knew when I needed it, it was going to show up. Now I've got copper. I'm so excited. And it's the simple things that make the best out of the other things, because now the energy of the excitement is going to go into what I make, and then it'll get shared, whichever way it goes. That's why I stopped the commercialism products and all these other things that, oh, this is best for you. BS. Make it basic, make it true, and that's what's best for me. So I had the choice, and I feel, the right choice.
and you're looking at the intention behind things.
Oh, yeah. Well, some PMS bitch making something that I'm supposed to put on my body. You think I want that? No, no, no.
Yeah, like they say in Buddhism, attitude is the short deliverance of the mind. When somebody is showing you something, okay, what's their attitude? Is it that they want to make money or that they want to benefit me? Because then the energy in what they're giving me is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
That's when like somebody told me when I was doing this with the energy devices, that somebody gave me some kind of business plan, is that it's good that you have stock, and then you make so many of these pieces and so many of these pieces, and you have them in stock, so when you get an order, you'll be able to send it more quickly. Because I always say to the people when they request any of the devices, I said, except the bracelets, those you can do fairly quickly, but any of the other resin devices, I always say I need 2 to 3 weeks lead time in order to offset any snafus or any snags along the way.
Well, right, because
So
if the environment's not set up correctly, you would be wasting your materials,
Correct.
supplies, and everything.
So when I'm sitting down to make something for the person, I don't care how many of the little powerhouse cues I've made or how many of the other pyramids I've made. I'm making it for that person.
But you got to have to
I
also
asked-
the want to be in
I
that
asked the
moment
guys
to
of
do it with unconditional state of processing.
Yeah, and I asked the guides of that person to please come in and be part of the process and
Aw.
program this device with whatever energies your person needs, your charge needs. So that's whatever I'm making it's making it for you. Yes, I do need to be paid for my time and effort and the materials. That goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the first intention is to do something that will benefit you. And the money is going to be a consequence, not the goal.
I like those kinds of consequences.
Yeah. In all my years, every time I've done any kind of activity with money as the goal, it's always bombed.
Exactly.
I wish I could say there's an exception. I did this. No, nope. It bombs. So I just okay. The focus is to do something that will benefit the person. The money is just going to be a consequence of that action. That's it. It's not the goal.
Well, and even you just admitting that you're going to work towards this would bring them that assistance, because then they feel that they can let go of it for a while because the answer's on its way. I can get that part. I mean, everything's a step. Not everything is a miraculous miracle, snap your fingers. Not to say it's not probable that it does occur. I'm just saying in its own right and time.
Yeah, it's enjoying the trip. So many people want things already made and finished and whatnot. So what about the trip? We're here for the trip.
Right.
If you got it all done and said, there's nothing else. There's nothing new to discover, nothing new to enjoy. If anybody knows it's all about the trip, it's you.
I am thinking though, because when you said that about nothing is new under the sun or whichever, however you said it, but we've had so many things still hidden that aren't new. The old occult, the old true elemental use and conditions of how to use magic in a good way. Like blessing your food, giving thanks. People don't realize, but that's truly in the realm of magic. Because it's the unseen appreciation of whatever energies are afforded us.
Well, let's look at it this way. I'm sorry that.
Oh yeah, okay. You keep being sorry.
No. I have to say this.
Okay.
Okay. It's not positive or not beneficial when fiction writers, especially the ones that write fiction concerning magic and magical entities, they make it sound that magic, like for example, I'll give you a perfect example. In the mythological world of Harry Potter, there are special beings that are born that have magical powers, and the rest are called muggles. There are people that are born, they have no magical powers. Other fiction writers, when they write about magic, it's
you mean they just aren't turned on at birth?
You have to either be born from magical people, or you have to go to the special school to be taught how to attain magical powers. And you have this fight between wizards because the goal is not money, but power and more power, right? Okay. So people their consciousness is being steered in the wrong direction in the sense of belief system. They're being taught to believe something that's not accurate. Because I'll ask you the question, do you have the power of sight?
Yes.
Can you see with your eyes, Mona? Okay. Do you have
I
the power?
Also see with my heart and my.
You have the power of speech. You can move your mouth and your vocal cords, and you can produce words, right? You have the power of hearing. Your ears will pick up vibrations in the air. Okay, that's what magic is. It's just another one of our powers. It's part of our human package. It's not something that you have to be born special to get. It's not something that a school is going to give you.
Well, it's utilizing awareness without judgment.
Think about it. The system was set up to teach you how powerless you are. That's why from the earliest childhood, you have to go and pray to God and to Jesus because you don't have any power. They have the power. So you have to be the ones that have the power, right?
Well, in their world, yeah.
And that's magic is part of the human package. It's one of your powers. You have the power to get up and walk or run or swim. You have the power of magic. Your words, he said it himself yesterday, Simon Parks. That's why spells are called that. Spell. Like if you spell a word cat, it's C-A-T, because it's the power of the voice. So you can get up and actually put a spell before you get into your car. Before you open the door, you say, "Thank you for protecting me and giving me a quick, secure ride." And you get in and you close the door. That was a spell. You have just enchanted your car to give you a fast, secure ride. It's your belief that it's not true.
Right.
Sabotaging that magic. That's all.
I know, right? The intent of not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, the church has taught me I am absolutely powerless.
I always give thanks.
Jesus can be the Son of God. Nobody else can be the Son of God. So.
That poor guy, man. He needs a vacation. I give him a vacation. Oh, honestly, could you imagine hundreds of billions of trillions of energies being pulled away from you? Oh, heck, we're done. I don't like that. It was too short.
Oh.
I appreciate it, honey.
Are you going to have a show tomorrow?
Oh, I'm 5 days a week. Oh,
wow. So you never get any sleep?
Oh, I get all kinds of sleep. But thanks for joining me. And yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it was fun. I wish we had more time, darn it. All righty then. Waiter.
See you later. Thank you. Thanks to the audience for listening.
Bye.
listening to Revolution Radio.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio, at spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter at spacedoutradio, and on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show. Spaced Out Radio. It's a night of talk and interaction. Are you experienced?